The news surrounding John Virgo has sent a deep wave of shock and sadness through the snooker world and beyond. For decades, John Virgo was not just a name associated with the sport. He was a familiar presence, a trusted voice, and a personality many fans felt they knew personally. John Virgo passed away at the age of 79 while living in Spain, a place he had come to call home in recent years. Friends, colleagues, and fans were stunned not only by the news itself, but by how sudden and unexpected it was. According to those closest to him, there had been no long illness, no warning signs, and no indication that anything was seriously wrong. Just hours before his death, he had been going about his day normally, enjoying everyday routines with his wife, Rosie. Details shared by close friend James Mallion paint a heartbreaking picture of John Virgo's final hours. He explained that Virgo woke up in the middle of the night experiencing severe pain and discomfort. Alarmed, his wife Rosie immediately called for medical help. An ambulance arrived and John was rushed to Zanet Hospital in Benalmádena. Despite the efforts of doctors and emergency staff, he passed away around 5:30 in the morning, only a few hours after first waking in pain. Doctors later explained that the cause of death was a ruptured aorta, a catastrophic and often fatal medical emergency. The aorta is the main artery that carries blood from the heart through the body. When it ruptures, the outcome is frequently devastating and sudden. According to medical professionals, this kind of rupture can happen without warning and is often impossible to survive, even in younger and otherwise healthy individuals. Those closest to John Virgo emphasized that his death was not linked to any known serious illness. Friends stated that he did not suffer from high blood pressure, and aside from a long-standing neck issue that affected his golf swing, he was generally well. Doctors reportedly told the family that nothing could have been done to prevent what happened. It was described as one of those rare but terrifying events that strike without notice. What has made the loss even harder to accept is how normal everything had seemed just hours earlier. James Mallion revealed that he had spoken to John the afternoon before his death. John and Rosie had been out shopping, visiting the Miramar shopping center in Fuengirola and doing ordinary everyday things. There was no sign of distress, no complaint, no hint that anything was wrong. Friends described him as right as rain, relaxed, upbeat, and in good spirits. John Virgo had been living in Spain since around the pandemic, enjoying a quieter life in the Costa del Sol. He was well known locally, regularly visiting familiar places, enjoying conversations with friends, and remaining deeply connected to snooker. Those who met him in Spain described him as warm, approachable, and completely free of ego. Despite his fame, he lived like any other local, often stopping for a simple half-pint of Guinness and chatting about sport, life, and old memories. Just weeks before his death, John Virgo had been working. He had commentated on the Masters final at Alexandra Palace in London for the BBC, reminding audiences that his voice and insight were still very much part of the game. That appearance made the news of his passing even more shocking. To many viewers, he had sounded exactly the same as always, sharp, calm, and engaged. His death also came at an especially painful time in his personal life. It occurred just days before his 17th wedding anniversary with his wife Rosie, and only a month before his 80th birthday. The couple had been making plans to celebrate both milestones, including a special dinner and a trip to Madrid. Those plans now remain unfulfilled, adding another layer of heartbreak to an already devastating loss. As news of his passing spread, tributes poured in from across the snooker world. Fellow professionals, broadcasters, and fans shared memories and messages of respect. Among the most talked-about tributes was one from Mark Selby, whose words resonated deeply with fans. Selby's tribute was described as heartfelt and sincere, focusing not on rumors or speculation, but on the immense respect Virgo had earned over decades. Mark Selby's acknowledgement carried particular weight. As a modern great of the game, Selby has often spoken about the influence of senior figures who helped shape his understanding of snooker. Commentators like John Virgo did more than describe matches. They helped define how the game was understood, appreciated, and respected. Selby's tribute reflected gratitude for that guidance and the positive influence Virgo had on generations of players. The respect shown by Selby mirrors the broader feeling within the snooker community. John Virgo was seen as a bridge between eras. He understood the traditions of the sport while embracing its evolution. His commentary brought clarity without arrogance, authority without distance. Fans trusted him and players respected him. Beyond snooker, those who knew John Virgo personally spoke of his character. Friends described him as the life and soul of any gathering, always ready with a story, a joke, or a thoughtful comment. He was known to be a passionate Manchester United supporter and someone who loved discussing sport in all forms. Despite his success, he remained grounded and approachable. Local business owners in Spain also shared their sadness. Bar owners and regular acquaintances spoke about how often he visited, how polite and friendly he was, and how he never behaved like a celebrity. To them, he was simply John, a familiar face who loved snooker and enjoyed good company. As discussions around his death continued, many fans began searching for information about funeral arrangements. The phrase funeral update began circulating online, leading to confusion and speculation. However, it is important to clarify the situation clearly and responsibly. At this time, no official funeral or memorial service details have been publicly released. There has been no confirmed announcement regarding the date, location, or format of any funeral or service. Any claims suggesting specific arrangements remain unverified. The family has not issued a public statement outlining plans, and it is possible that any service will be private. This lack of information has not reduced the respect shown toward John Virgo. In fact, it has encouraged a more thoughtful and respectful response. Rather than focusing on speculation, much of the conversation has centered on remembering his life, his character, and the impact he had on the sport and the people around him. Funerals and memorials are deeply personal events. For families, they are moments of private grief and reflection. Whether John Virgo's farewell is public or private, what matters most is the legacy he leaves behind, and that legacy is already clear. John Virgo represented professionalism, insight, and dedication. He helped shape how snooker was watched and understood. He mentored, informed, and entertained without ever seeking attention for himself. His sudden passing is a reminder of how fragile life can be and how quickly everything can change. As fans continue to mourn, the most responsible approach is patience and respect. Until official information is released, it is important not to spread assumptions or rumors. What can be done and what is already happening is honoring John Virgo through memory, appreciation, and gratitude. In the end, while the cause of death has now been shared and tributes continue to emerge, there are currently no officially confirmed funeral details available. Any further announcements will come in due time if the family chooses to share them. Until then, John Virgo is remembered not by the circumstances of his death, but by the warmth of his presence, the clarity of his voice, and the lasting mark he left on snooker and on the lives of those who watched, worked with, and knew him.